coming to our first project presentation. Aidan will be presenting on his book that he wrote, Honeybee. And I just wanted to introduce Aidan and say a few words first to begin. Aidan began working on this book as a 9th grader in my creative writing class. So this has been a 4-year-long project and creative idea that you're going to see come to fruition. And really, I learned a phenomenal lesson in working with Aidan on this. It really epitomizes the whole idea of it's about the work and the process, in addition to the end result. Because the process was just such a remarkable journey. It was dynamic. There were many changes that happened. And Aidan was spectacular at being self-directed, self-disciplined, really got into this idea of writing routinely, of reaching goals, such as word count, how many words a day he was going to write, when he was the best time to write. And following Aidan through this process was immensely rewarding and an experience that I'll never forget. So without further ado, please give a round of applause for Aidan.
Hello, I'm Aidan. Like Patricia said, I've been working on this since freshman year, when I started really writing it during creative writing, and it's called Honeybee. What is Honeybee? Honeybee is a 169-page fantasy novella about a teenager that wants to learn magic. The research that I did. For researching this project, I read a book called On Writing by Stephen King. Now that I've read it, it's probably one of my favorite books. It's nothing like a textbook or anything like a normal writing guide. It is about Stephen King's life and his process and how you find creativity and inspiration. Some of the three tips I learned was writing is human, to write is human, and to edit is divine. This is become like a mantra in my head. Nothing that you write your first go around will ever be perfect, and it won't have those interlocking moments of like, oh my gosh, of course that was what they were building up to. Because you don't know what you're building up to. That all is going to come from reworking and editing everything. Second tip, the scariest moment is always just before you start. After that, everything can only get better. This could not be more true. Whenever you first start doing anything, in my opinion, it should be scary. And if it's not scary, then it's not important. Every time I would start writing, I would get a little nervous that it wasn't going to be good enough. But after you start, even like the first 5 words, it just feels so much better. And I would always feel fulfilled and happy, and just everything was good after I started. Third is even more important. You must shut up and listen to others talk. I think this is really funny, especially because I'm just talking right now. But to learn how to write, especially with dialogue, you have to listen to others, and to find a big writing tip that everyone says is to write what you know. And if you don't listen to anyone, whether that's like advice, critique, or just talking, then you'll never write anything except for like an autobiography, because you won't know anything. These are the books I read this year, which I was really surprised when I thought about all these books, because I felt like I only read 3, but it turns out I read a lot more. I would say half of them were from school, and the other half were just on my own. I'm still reading a couple of them, but for the most part, I read all these, which they were all really good books. especially, I just finished Later by Stephen King, which was really good. Big recommendation. Just like it came out like 2023, so more recent book by him. My process, four whole years. It took me 4 years to write this, and I would say that it's the biggest thing that has blossomed from me writing over this long time is the best way for me to write is to get around 500 words in every day and just to let it flow however my brain is wanting me to write. Plotting and really preparing everything and making sure everything is, there's no plot holes freaks me out and I end up just not writing. So my process went from what I am doing now, which is just kind of like letting everything go, to like intense plotting and like trying to create this like really realistic world and make sure everything is like, make sure all my I's are dotted and my T's crossed, and then back to just kind of letting everything go. For the first 3 years of this project, I wrote around 20,000 words, and this year alone, I've written in like, it really only took like a semester and then half of this semester, I wrote 26,000 words. So pretty much I've doubled myself in a year. So the whole piece is about 46,000 words. Characters. This is Honeybee, the main character, a shy soft boy that loves magic and his friends, and his motivation in the story is to help his friends what they're doing and to learn magic. Kuemmerle is one of the side characters, people person, plant perpetuator. Her motivation is to help friends and also help Isabel crack out of her shell. Isabel, a bit of a loner and a bully to Honeybee in the beginning, but has a soft spot for Kuemmerle. And her motivation is to save Kuemmerle because she gets poisoned. The plot, this is the fun part, because I like doing this. This is Honeybee in the beginning. He's all scared and nervous, but then his parents, these are his parents, are like, no magic, we don't like it. But his sister and Mary and Mary's boyfriend Oliver are like, we love magic, yay! And so Honeybee starts learning magic on his own in a secret little like pocket dimension space kind of thing. And eventually his bully Isabel comes up to him one night after like they become more friends, and is like, I need help. My girlfriend Kuemmerle, she's dying, but I just found out that we don't know what poison it is, but I found out there's a flower that is at the top of this mountain that will save her. So Kuemmerle they go visit Kuemmerle and they're like, okay, what do we do? And they start climbing the mountain. And on their way, they meet Benedict. Doesn't look exactly like this, but he does not have ears. He's like midnight, like pitch black, because he's made from space, like literal void and stars and stuff. And so then they start climbing the mountain, and then they get into a big argument because Honeybee hasn't been like the best friend. He's kind of been focused more on learning magic from Benedict than actually saving Kuemmerle, so the trip up the mountain's taking like twice as long than it should. And so Honeybee gets all angry, and Benedict convinces him that he's actually in the right, so they go back to Benedict's house. And then he realizes after seeing this like spirit that's trapped in this little like pedestal that's been helping him throughout the story, he sees the pedestal and he's like, oh my gosh, wait, Isabel was right, Benedict's actually not a good guy. And so he runs back up the mountain and meets Isabel. And then Benedict's already there, and Benedict summons Kuemmerle back because he's going to perform a spell that brings back his dead wife. But you'll have to read it. my struggles, writing is really scary, plot is really hard, and magic is complicated. I think the biggest thing for me was the magic system, because I couldn't decide if I wanted a hard magic system or a soft magic system. It'll take too long to explain what those are, but in general, hard is hard and soft is soft. I ended up kind of somewhere in the middle, but it was really difficult to figure out how I wanted all that to work. And I definitely are still plot holes, but whatever. What I learned is that if you do it for joy, and you can do it forever. That's really kind of, I guess, self-explanatory. If you can't, in this process, whenever I wasn't having fun, it was really hard to start writing or keep writing, and it was always because I was putting too much pressure on myself. It's a first draft. It's not like it's gonna be perfect, but you know, as you do, it's like, it's gonna be perfect. So after I kind of let that go, I found joy in it, and it let me get double what my work was, and yeah. So that was the project. The end. Yeah.
Can we buy the book? Like, how do we find out how it ends?
It's not. I'm gonna edit it, which isn't done, which is probably gonna take a while. But I do plan to publish it at some point. So I guess in the next couple year or two, look out in your local bookstores. Yellow.
How do you pick your character names? Because they're all like really fun and interesting.
Honeybee, because when I first started working on it, we were in quarantine.
Yeah.
And it was spring, I think. I was at my desk writing. I looked outside and there was a bunch of bees going around a flower, and I was like, perfect. Caramel and Isabel. Isabel just came to me for some reason. I was trying to think of a name, and it kind of just popped in my head, and I couldn't think of any other name that would work well for the character. And Caramel I came up with because I based it on a person in real life, and they have a very sweet and sticky personality, so I thought of Caramel. Yep.
Is it like a regular school or like a boarding school?
It's a regular school. Yeah. The school isn't super important. It kind of pops up like once. But they just go to regular school. Yeah, Keisha?
Like, would you ever consider writing more or like adding on to the series, or is this kind of like a one time?
Oh, I don't know. I guess I could definitely see there being a sequel. I'm not sure if it would be from Honeybee's perspective, because his story kind of comes full circle, but I don't know, maybe. Louis?
Is magic like a common thing, or is it like, because you said the parents in the story didn't like it. Is it like generally frowned upon?
No, it's a pretty common thing. The parents are kind of outliers in this world. They're lame. Yeah. So Luca?
When does it take place?
That was one of the things I always struggled with. I was always like, I don't know when this takes place. I would say probably it's a pretty modern day story. There are in the story, the parents are big into tech and technology, so there's phones and laptops and stuff like that. But because magic exists, it also is not fully modern because magic is more useful and easy and more accessible than technology. Mm-hmm. So kind of a mixture of now and I don't know, the past 30, 40 years. Yeah. Yeah.
Which step took the longest in grade novel?
Which step took the longest?
Or which one was the hardest or something?
I think the hardest, what took the longest was the beginning, because for a while I didn't really know where I was going. I knew I wanted them to go to the mountain, but I didn't know how I wanted to build up to that. So, trying to find how it built up to that point was probably the hardest. It, like in the process section, it kind of just eventually, all of a sudden, all the plot points I had been writing about collided, and it was like, this is the moment. So, but that took a while to get to, so that was probably the hardest part. Yeah.
Did you have a favorite character?
Yes, I have a favorite character. My favorite character is probably Isabel, because I feel like her development is the most drastic. Going in, obviously, I don't say Honeybee is my favorite character because he's the protagonist, so he kind of almost has to be. But if I didn't have to pick him, it would probably be Isabel because she's spunky. So yeah. Yeah, Keisha?
Is there an aspect, like I know you've loved this whole project, but is there like a part of it that you're extraordinarily like proud of?
I think I'm the climax. I am super proud of that. I remember when I was writing it, I would get to like my goal of 500 words that day, and I'm proud of those moments because I wouldn't be able to like stop myself. I was like, I just gotta keep going. So I wrote the climax kind of in one sitting, or maybe two. But it was one of those like special moments when it's like your fingers are moving as fast as your brain is moving, and it's just like it's like a movie is playing in your head, and you're not even thinking about the words that are popping up on the screen. It's just like it's all just playing like a real film. It's like a flow state. It's really cool. So yeah, that's probably most proud of it. Yeah.
What was writing the dialogue like? Like, what was it difficult, and did it feel awkward, or did it just like come to you?
I always thought I was good at dialogue. Looking back now, like when I was editing, I'm always like, oh, what did I say? I think the dialogue in general came to me pretty quickly. I think the biggest thing with that is Stephen King's saying of like just like shut up and listen to people, because listening to movies or people in real life, the words kind of all mesh from different parts of your life, I guess, come into the characters. Yeah, Maya?
Does it have a happy ending?
It does. No, it's not sad. I almost wrote a sad ending, and then I was like, I can't do that to myself. I didn't want any of them to die. Even though they always say kill your darlings, but I couldn't. Yeah, Patricia?
Can you talk about the special writing device you
Oh,
wrote,
yes.
and if you would recommend it for future writers?
So I have this, it's like a laptop and also a Kindle, but it's more like a Kindle. Instead of reading, it has a keyboard and it types, so it's an e-ink screen. I really like it. It has connection to Wi-Fi and will transfer anything you write to like a website, and then you can just copy and paste it into Google Docs or whatever Word format you're using. It's all about blocking out all distractions, and so the only thing it can do is write, transfer the words, and give you a timer and how many words are in your document. Those are like the big features it gives you. I really enjoy it because I get distracted really easily, and writing on my laptop, I would be writing, and then like a pop-up would happen, or I would think of something, and I'm like, I want to look that up, or like, oh, I'm stuck on what I'm writing, I'm just gonna watch YouTube instead. But with this little device, it doesn't allow you to do any of that. So it's called FreeWrite. I got the travel edition because the normal edition's like a full typewriter, but digital, and I wouldn't be able to carry it around. It's a little overpriced in my opinion, but honestly, it's kind of worth it. It works exactly as it says, and it is. It's really special to me because it feels like this. It's like a physical thing that its one purpose is to write on, and so I don't have to think about anything else when I'm using it. So, yeah, I recommend it. And again, it's called FreeWrite. Yeah.
Can you tell us about your magic system?
Okay. So the system that I came up with is there are 3 divisions of magic. There's verbal, mental, and physical. So verbal is like words that you speak. Mental is like the visualization process of it. And then physical is like physical elements, like there's like you're making like a potion or like an ingredient, but also runes. I guess runes could be a subclass of physical. That's kind of the hard part of the system, and then the rest of it is kind of soft magic, which like all the spells are kind of just like yay, you can do this now. I think the thing that my favorite thing about the magic system that I made is that during it, I had this idea that Isabel would have let me preface this with, have you ever played Wizard 101? And if you have, you know what I mean by fizzle. But if you haven't, in the game, you cast a spell and it has a certain % chance of like the spell like fizzling away and not working. So I decided that Isabel would have this some kind of mental condition where sometimes her spells would fizzle, and it makes it a lot harder for her to perform magic. But in her family, magic is very important. So it's like kind of like a secret thing that was probably my favorite part of my magic system. But it's majority soft magic where the characters can kind of just control, like it's almost a limitless potential. But it has those 3 like classes of skill and ability that people can like focus on. Also, Oliver is like a prodigy in the story, and he originally, before I came up with the mountain plot, the plot was going to be that Oliver was going to go to a school and Honeybee was like going to freak out and try to follow him there. But I think that brings me, I guess, to another Keisha's question about the sequel.
It's past time.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, congratulations.